Hello. Now's the topic about midwives. You might be new to Nashville and you just might be new to pregnancy. So let's talk a minute about your midwife options here in Nashville. Well, first, you do have an option of a home birth midwife. And we do not have a center for those home births to deliver in. So if you want a home birth midwife, you're going to be delivering in your home. And there's quite a few of those out there. It's usually cash pay. So just to be aware of that kind of going into it moving forward. You're welcome to ask for reimbursement from your insurance. Some insurances will do that, some won't, but there you go, get you started. Now, next choice, maybe you want a midwife, but kind of a not a home birth, but not a hospital, etc. Well, that looks like it would be the Vanderbilt Birth Center for you. So it's a beautiful setting, and you come in to birth there just for a very short time near the end of your labor. You stay there for a few hours post-birth, and then you're going to head home. So that, once again, is with the midwife, but these are different because they're certified nurse midwives. They don't deliver in the home. They only deliver at this birth center. So that's an option number 2 for you. Option number 3 is I want a midwife, but I want to be in a hospital setting. Great. You have a couple different hospitals to choose from. You can now have a midwife at the Vanderbilt Hospital, or you can choose to have a midwife and go to St. Thomas Midtown, or Ascension as it's also called. So those are 2 places you can birth with a midwife in a hospital setting. They're very open to what you want to do and will support you in that. Unfortunately, at this time, Centennial does not have a midwife that you can actually book as your primary care provider. Neither does Williamson, so you can't choose to birth with the midwife at either of those 2 locations. But there are some options, hooray. If you want to birth in a hospital setting at Vanderbilt, you would want to look up the Vanderbilt Midwives at Melrose Place. We'll get that together. So look up the Vanderbilt Midwives at Melrose Place. And that group, half of them deliver at the birth center and half deliver at the hospital. So once you're in their care, you can then go from there. And if you have some kind of health issue pop up, those midwives will refer you to an OBGYN to consult with. And if everything's going good, you'll come back into their care and finish your birth there. If not, then you'll co-care and it works out beautifully. If you want a midwife at St. Thomas Midtown or Ascension Hospital, you have 2 practices currently, and this is March 2022 that I'm telling you this information. Things change, so just keep that in mind. But your 2 options are Connectus Midwives or the midwives at Women's OB. I hope to have more midwife options at some point, but currently that's all we got. So one of those 2 groups to reach out to see if they can support you in what you want. Most women can have care from a midwife. They can do anything the doctor can do, except they can't do the C-sections. So they can do inductions if you need to. They can do lots of different care. They will also refer you to an OBGYN if you have any health issues, because those midwives are mainly serving healthy population. So if you're having issues with your blood pressure or something else, they're going to consult with an OBGYN. So you don't have to start with an OBGYN. You can start with a midwife, consult with an OBGYN if something happens in your pregnancy that you need that. But the midwives will not be performing any C-sections, but they can do all kinds of other things, just prescribe medication. They're open to induction if you need or want that. They know there are resources around. Their view of birth is just different than an OBGYN. Typically, the midwives have more of a holistic, a whole body experience, and the visits are a little longer technically when you go to see them. Whereas the OBGYNs generally, not all of them, but generally their visits are about 15 minutes. They're not big into education. They're more into check the box. Is mom healthy? Is baby healthy? So a little different care focus. So please think about that. What do you want for your birth? What kind of support do you want? And maybe the midwife is a great option for you. Maybe it's not, but do some phone calls around and see what you can find out what's best for you. So think about who you want to care for you, how you want that care to go, and where you want to birth before settling on that. You can also trade care providers. Maybe you don't like who you've chosen, or maybe you haven't really decided and you're just seeing the GYN you've seen for years now that you're pregnant. You're happy to shop around, welcome to do that. If you're going to change care providers, they would like you to have done that before 36 weeks. So think about that, work on that ahead of time, ask your questions about your birth, make sure your care provider is going to support what you want, that you're a good match for not only your care provider, but you're also your location. So there's my little tidbit about midwives in this area. Several options, which I love for us to choose from as moms. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you have a blissful birth. I just realized I need to amend that last video and add a final thought. I forgot the Stonecrest Hospital in Smyrna now has midwives as well. So you have another option for midwives. Yay! Not far from Nashville. So they are a group called Diana Health. If you go to heydianahealth.com, you'll also be able to see that group. So they're hospitalists, but you can also get an appointment to choose to have either an OBGYN or a midwife from their team that will care for you in your pregnancy. So I listed all the other hospitals in the earlier part of this video, and I forgot to notice and make a note that Stonecrest Hospital now has midwives. They started in January 2022. So it's exciting to have yet another option of a place to go if you want midwife care. There are currently not any midwives at Williamson. I've had people ask me about that, and that is not an option for you if you go there. So when you have a hospital that doesn't offer that, you need to think about their philosophies and their care and what's going on. But love that we have another option of midwives, and that's in the Smyrna area, so it's close to Nashville, close to Rutherford. Lots of options for you guys out there. So I want to amend my previous video to also add this new option of midwives at Stonecrest Hospital, because I forgot to mention that. So hope you have a blissful birth and enjoy the many options here in Nashville.